This podcast is not suitable for children or those who are easily disturbed. Spoiler warning for whatever is in the title of this episode.
And now for the obligatory socials. Please like, share and subscribe. Follow Daniel at dstarsick on Twitter. Follow Ryan at Darth Damio on the Bluebird app. You can find the podcast on Twitter at HorrorPod69. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Slasher and Goodreads. Become part of the Disturbed community by asking for the Facebook group and Discord links. Send dick pics to the Horror of Babylon podcast at gmail.com. Support the show at patreon.com/thehorrorofbabylon. In closing, you can let your friends know that The Horror of Babylon is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible and all other major podcast apps.
Welcome to a very special bonus episode of The Horror of Babylon, where we are discussing Cocaine Bear. I am Ryan, and with me as always is Daniel. Say hi, Daniel.
Hi, Ryan.
I thought you were over COVID. And this episode will be dedicated to the memory of Ray Liotta, which I'm sure his family really appreciates that we're dedicating this episode to him. But since this was the last movie he completed a production on before he died, I thought we'd do that.
Okay, I was just about to ask who Ray Liotta was.
He's the main drug dealer.
Oh, okay.
He's best known for Goodfellas.
Yeah, see, I don't know actors' names very well, but I recognize, he was in that movie or this movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know him best from Operation Dumbo Drop, but... or I knew him best anyways. And thank you to our patrons, Abigail the First, Breaker of Chains, Mother of Dragons, and
Logan,
the Full Metal Patron, and for Horsemen Comics and Gaming, which you can visit at the Morgantown Mall in Morgantown, West Virginia, or the Mall at Robinson in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and say hello to the... I almost said the of Four Horsemen.
Yeah, he's the Four Horsemen.
He's the Four Horsemen. I'll just bleep it. Four Horsemen Comics and Gaming, Ronald III, Grampus of Christmas.
What's wrong with wizards? They're like they're super.
So many bleeps. Alright. So trigger warnings, drugs are a big deal in this movie. Also, there's some violence against animals. And also, if you're deathly afraid of having your intestines eaten while you're alive,
yeah,
I don't recommend this movie.
That's one of my worst fears, is being eaten while I'm still alive.
Yeah, and that was... Yeah, well, we'll get to that. Okay, so for our history with this film, neither of us has seen this. We saw this in theaters, not on release, a couple weeks after, because we were both sick.
Yeah, we got COVID back-to-back, apparently.
Yeah, lots of fun. Leading up to Cocaine Bear, what were your kind of thoughts and expectations, hopes, dreams?
It's the same thing with, a Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. I saw the trailer, and I'm like, this looks fucking stupid. I love it. It looked like dumb fun, and that's all it was going to need to be for me. And I was like, it was another one of those movies, anytime the main page tweeted something about it, I retweeted it, and I was like, cocaine.
It's pretty much the same for me. I did not watch the trailer purposely because I wanted it all to be brand new, so I was just going based on the poster and the premise. Although I will say that after Blood and Honey, I was dreading this a little bit.
Yeah.
Unfairly.
Yeah.
Maybe that increased the enjoyment somewhat.
The vampire's a pure myth, superstition. I may be able to bring you proof that the superstition of yesterday can become the scientific reality of today.
Background, and Cocaine Bear was released on February 24th, 2023. It is directed by Elizabeth Banks, who most people know as a comedic actress, lots of Judd Apatow movies. If you don't know her, if you Google her, you can see her face. You'd be like, oh, I've seen her in 30 movies.
Yeah, she's in a lot of movies.
Lots of movies. But I did not realize she had also started directing until her name flashed across the screen for this movie. But this was her third, major motion picture. She also directed Pitch Perfect 2 and the 2019 reboot of Charlie's Angels. I didn't know there was a new Charlie's Angels, so I'm learning lots of stuff.
Nobody knew there was a new Charlie's Angels if you look at the box office receipts.
Elizabeth Banks knew.
Yeah. Yeah, she literally, there's this big article that came out at the time where people were like, we don't really like this trailer. And she's like, well, then you're just sexist. I don't want you to see this movie anyway. And then all these articles came out and said, men didn't go see Charlie's Angels 2, and now it's bombed at the box office. We were all like, you told us not to go see it.
People said the same thing about Ghostbusters, but I love Ghostbusters. I walked out of that movie and, immediately went on Facebook and went live and said, go fucking see this movie. Forget about the conversations. Forget about what everybody's saying. Go see it and form your own opinion. I absolutely love it. And I'll fight whoever. I won't really.
Yeah.
But...
I've always been of the opinion that as soon as a director tells me to not see a movie, regardless of where I stood on the conversation before, I'm like, okay, that's horrible optics. And now all my enthusiasm's gone.
And I just don't follow that kind of stuff, so I can form my own opinions.
Yeah, I follow movie news entirely too much. That's what I'm always talking about when I come up here, is
I'm upset by this thing,
social
and it's
media
affecting
news.
my opinion of this movie.
Yeah.
This movie was written by Jimmy Warden. It's his second screenplay. His first was The Babysitter Killer Queen, which is a Netflix film. This movie had a budget of $30 to $35 million, and as of March 10th, which is when we are recording, it has taken in $58.6 million. It is still in theaters, so I think it's safe to say this is a successful film.
Yeah, it's about broken even. 2 weeks in, that's not bad for a film of this size.
Yeah. It was filmed in Ireland from August to October of 2021. Takes place in Georgia and Tennessee in the United States, but filmed in Ireland. I would have guessed it was filmed in Georgia, but...
Yeah, I was like, I just assumed they went to a state park.
Yeah. And the digital FX of the Cocaine Bear was made by Weta FX, which, if you're not familiar, is Peter Jackson's digital FX company. So, same folks that work with Wingnut and Weta Workshop on, other Peter Jackson projects, which we'll just leave it at there for now. And this movie was inspired loosely by true events where an American black bear died after ingesting a duffel bag full of cocaine in December of 1985.
Oh no, poor bear.
I know. Andrew C. Thornton, who was a drug smuggler and is a character in this movie, briefly, is a character in this movie, did throw the cocaine out of his plane while he was flying over this forest in Georgia because the plane was too heavy, and then he jumped and there was a faulty parachute and he died in the fall. And then 3 months later, the body of a black bear was found dead, and they did an autopsy and figured out that it consumed all of this cocaine. They found about 40 open plastic containers of cocaine.
That's a lot of cocaine.
And the bear has actually been stuffed and is on display at the Kentucky Fun Mall in Lexington, Kentucky.
Ryan, can we go?
Sure. And it was dubbed Cocaine Bear back in 2015.
I want to go see this bear.
I do too. Obviously, the film's plot differs wildly from real life, but the biggest thing is that we don't know that the Cocaine Bear actually killed anybody. Presumably it killed some things, but
Itself.
Yeah, itself. And then in an interview, Elizabeth Banks said that she kind of approached this movie as being the bear's revenge story. If the bear had a chance to avenge itself upon the drug peoples.
That's cute.
And that's that. Another story in the classic, infallible 3-act structure. Good enough for Aristotle, good enough for The Simpsons.
Mr. Sislak, I have a feeling there's going to be one more act to this story.
Well, I'm not hanging around for that. 4 acts.
Okay, so we're jumping to structure and themes. Sometimes we're topical, but, these episodes are going to be out there, more or less forever. So I kind of want them to also be timeless. So, right now in
It's why we take the quote-unquote intellectual approach.
Yeah. Right now in 2023, the conversation is comparing this movie to Winnie the Pooh and Blood and Honey. I don't want that to dominate this whole conversation we're going to have, so I'm going to say we have 5 minutes to compare this movie to Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and then we're not allowed to mention Blood and Honey again for the rest of the episode.
I think I can do this in 5 seconds. This movie was everything Blood is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Stupid, dumb fun. Creative kills and a lot of gore.
I agree with you, but I would change one part of that. You said supposed to be, and I would say what I wanted.
Yeah.
Because obviously the creators of Blood and Honey did not go out to make a comedy.
Yeah.
Which is what I wanted and is what I would have preferred, and I think what most people would have preferred.
What I sort of expected based off of some of their marketing. I guess not off of the trailer.
But apparently that's not the movie they wanted to make.
Yeah, I guess.
Unless they have the darkest sense of humor, and I just,
don't get it.
Yeah. Which is
I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre is funnier than Blood and Honey was.
I haven't seen that since I was like 10.
Yeah. It's one of the greatest horror movies ever made.
Yeah, it scared me so bad I haven't seen it since.
We'll do a rewatch. We get a couple more patrons. We'll do a commentary over
Sure.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Sure, why not? But 2 horror bear movies released relatively close to each other, both with like huge online social media followings, lots of hype.
In Blood and Honey's defense, this had about a million times the budget.
Yeah, and also like the star power. There's some big names.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good actors in this.
Yeah, people on the cast and crew, and like it's not fair, but it's like when people say
super experienced Hollywood directors.
Yeah, it's like when Justice League came out and some people will be like, well, don't compare it to Avengers. I'm like, why would I not compare it to Avengers?
It's literally like,
well, that's not fair. Of course it's not as good as Avengers. Well, yeah, but
what are you supposed to compare it to?
Mm-hmm.
People say like apples and oranges, but they're both fruits with seeds that grow on trees,
Blood and Honey, not so good. Cocaine Bear, real good.
We were fucking cackling in
the
theater.
God. I haven't laughed that hard at a movie. I can't remember. I literally can't remember. Like, maybe when we all went and saw the new American Pie.
Yeah. I am hard-pressed to remember something that I had this good of a time just sitting in the theater, eating popcorn, and genuinely just laughing. And at points we were supposed to laugh.
Yeah. Bridesmaids, I laughed, but that was still like 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's great. All right, so moving on. Over time, how do you think Cocaine Bear will fare in the pantheon of animal attack movies?
I think it'll fare fairly well. If you like this genre, it's probably going to be, especially if this is one of the first ones you've seen, because I try to always take nostalgia into account. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the movie Anaconda. Usually considered a pretty bad movie, but I saw that movie when I was like 10 years old.
I also saw it as a kid.
Yeah.
I also like that movie. I'm not so sure how much I would like it if I saw it for the first time as an adult.
I recently rewatched it, and I can see a lot of the jank, but I feel like in however many years, 20 plus years, this movie might look janky or feel janky in comparison to movie making conventions then too, so.
Yeah. I think that when you're talking about animal attack movies as a subgenre of creature features, there's really 2 camps. Yeah. There's the movies that take themselves seriously, like Jaws, The Birds, and then there's your Sharknadoes, your Cocaine Bears.
Lake Placid would be a good example.
Lake Placid would be.
This is very comparable. I think this is way better than Lake Placid. But I think this is closer in that camp.
Yeah, it's definitely in that Anaconda camp. So the main theme of this movie is man versus nature. But what I like about it is that it kind of has a sympathetic view on the bear. The bear is the monster of this movie, but the bear isn't the villain.
Yeah, it's a monster because it took a bunch of drugs that humans dropped into its woods.
Yeah. it is what is chasing people and killing people, but the villain is the drug dealer. is the person who's responsible for that cocaine being there, for that innocent animal ingesting that. Also, not that I'm saying, oh, it's okay that the bear killed all those people. That's...
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, you get it. It's high off of its ass.
Yeah, it doesn't understand what it's doing.
It's a stupid, dumb animal that's, evolved to be an apex killing machine. And now you got it hopped up on energy drugs.
This movie walks a good line of being sympathetic for the animal, but not, like, putting the life of an animal above the lives of people.
Yeah.
It felt like it's weird to say, but it felt like really honest and genuine about examining that man versus nature or theme and just being, we're not saying that this bear is more important than the people it's attacking, but the bear is only attacking because of the drugs.
Yeah. I love that we're examining, like, the artistic and thematic qualities of Cocaine Bear.
This movie it's more than just like a gory creature feature.
Yeah, no, I wasn't expecting that when we walked in.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting to walk away going, the bear did nothing wrong. Maybe not that far.
Killed a lot of people, but it did nothing wrong.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Okay, so speaking of those people, let's get into characters. And we're not going to go deep on all of these characters because there are so many.
They were like, we want to have a bunch of creative kills, so we're just going to throw characters at the screen into a meat grinder.
Yeah, and which is
kind of what they needed to do
in that other thing. Yep. Okay, so I kind of broke these characters down into groups.
Yeah.
So first we're going to talk about the locals, which are the people who live in the area. And we're going to start with I don't remember. The mom.
Yeah.
Played by Carrie Russell. And we'll talk about her and the kids.
I thought she was so attractive in this movie.
Yeah.
She literally looked like a tired, overworked mom, and that's literally my type.
Yep, no, I completely agree. She was super sympathetic. She did a great job, and it was definitely like one of those like Jurassic Park, like with Dr. Grant, like looking out for those kids running through the forest, getting chased by animals.
Yeah.
Just like this. This movie had like a real like 80s, early 90s kind of feel to me.
Yeah.
And a big part of that was the two kids, Henry and Dee Dee. They felt like they were coming out of like a kind of like a Goonies, Explorers, kind of Steven Spielberg-esque movie with like these smart alecky kids who get themselves...
You could have almost just focused on the kids, and that would have been that exact type of movie.
This movie doesn't really have a protagonist, but there are two like groups of people that are the protagonist, and one group is the two kids and this mom, and then the other group is two of the drug lord's underlings.
Yeah.
Who we're going to get to. But like the chemistry between the two kids was hilarious. When they find the cocaine and they're like daring each other to do the cocaine.
I do cocaine all the time after church.
I do cocaine every Sunday after church.
Who was the guy who said he did it with?
It was a weird name.
Let's just call him Puck for now.
Yeah, like Puck. Like every Sunday,
Puck's a pervert.
Every Sunday I do cocaine after church with Puck.
You just say that because you're never invited. How do you do cocaine then? You eat it.
They stick a knife in the bag and they get like 2 tablespoons.
That would be enough to kill probably me.
I was at the grocery store the other night.
So much cocaine.
Yeah. I was at the grocery store the other night, like 2 nights before we saw this movie. And one of the cashiers, not the one I was at, but the next cashier over, was bragging to another worker there about how much cocaine he used to do. And he's like, you don't get it. I did like 0.5 gram every single day. So that, and like screaming at the top of his lungs. I was like,
are you on 0.5 gram now?
Yeah, it sounded like it. But that's what was going through my head as I was watching these kids like shove tablespoons of cocaine in their mouths.
And then spit it out.
Oh, it tastes so bad.
It reminded me of, not the last girl I dated, but the one before that. She had a cocaine habit. She used to just take it out in front of me, sniff it, and just go about her day. But it was always like these very tiny lines.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about cocaine, but I know you don't eat it by the spoonful.
Yeah, that was a weird relationship. She'd always just go, hey, you want something? I'm like, no, I'm like 34, 35. I don't need to do this.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Thanks. And just to shout out to the kids, they were played by Christian Convery and Brooklyn Prince.
They did a good job.
Yeah, they were both great.
I usually hate child actors. It's hard to find ones that I enjoy.
But when you find a good one, like, it's great.
Hollywood, you better milk these two because they did a good job.
Yeah, they were excellent. And then some older kids, the Duchamps gang. And the description on the Wikipedia, the description of these characters on the Wikipedia page is delinquents who cause trouble in the forest. They're like
they go to mug one of the drug dealers in the bathroom.
These three characters are named in the credits as Kid, Vest, and Ponytail.
That's fucking great. Even the credits are funny.
It's funny that by the end of the movie, Kid, the one who doesn't get killed by the bear, ended up being one of my favorite characters.
He was funny.
he got away with all that cocaine.
My mom got me a lizard, and I practiced my social skills on it, and that's how I met my friends. And then this movie does these cutaways to where, like, when they're talking about stuff, it's not quite like a Family Guy cutaway, but it's something akin to that, I guess. And then by then his friends are dead, and he doesn't know that, but it shows their corpses with them.
Yeah. And they were, like, all planning to leave and, like, go to New York or something together.
It's all fourth wall-y.
It's weird that this movie, it's really, about the action and the bear and whatnot, but it does just a little bit of character building with each of these characters and makes you care about the majority of them.
I love that the mom has this flash away about the guy she's trying to convince her daughter to go on a trip with.
Yeah,
she's like, hey, this guy's getting all up in my guts, we should go to Tennessee.
you got that, you got the Duchamps gangs, their story about how they found each other and became friends. We're gonna get to her later, but the park ranger and how she's in love with this conservationist guy, and she's
he's the most 80s looking motherfucker ever. If he would have pulled out a peace sign and a ukulele, it would not have struck me as odd.
Well, let's just go ahead and jump to them. So Ranger Liz, played by
I loved her,
Margot Martindale, and Peter, who's the conservationist, played by Jesse Tyler Ferguson. They were both so funny.
I know you and have not gotten very far in the show because you don't like it, but Margot Martindale is a recurring character in BoJack Horseman.
Yeah, I've only seen the first couple episodes.
And her whole shtick is she can play any character.
I was looking at each of these person's IMDb page, and Bob the cop, he's also in BoJack Horseman. I think it said he was the CEO or something like that.
I'd have to look. There's a lot of decent names in BoJack Horseman.
Yeah, it's got what's his face?
BoJack.
Yeah.
I can't remember the actor's name, but he's in he's in a
Lego Batman.
Yeah, he's in a Reese's Cup commercial now.
Will Arnett.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the hardest laughs I had in this movie was between these two characters when Peter looks at Ranger Liz and says, "You got a dusty beaver, Liz. I'm working on it, Peter."
I think that's when we started laughing, and then we didn't stop after that.
Basically. And I love all of her interactions with the gang.
That kid was smoking in here, bad for his lungs.
Yeah, and she catches him stealing, and then she catches the one kid who stole all the cash, and then she shoots him in the head.
That's a bear. And she can't hit anything worse. The way she's aiming a gun really looks like some old woman who's never had to use a gun before trying to use a gun.
She probably hasn't had to use a gun before, or maybe she's just really bad at it. Maybe she's killed a lot of people.
Yeah.
Maybe she has bodies buried throughout the park.
She just dumps them back there because bears will eat them.
Yeah. I think she did Ponytail a favor by shooting him in the head. I'd rather get shot in the back of the head than mauled to death by a bear.
100%.
There were some pretty gruesome and not fun-looking deaths in this movie.
Yeah. Oh, it's Peter's the conservationist. That's when
That was bad.
Because that was the first death after the opening kill. The opening kill wasn't so bad.
Yeah, I actually have a section for that.
Okay,
in scary shit.
So we'll wait. We'll table that.
Okay, so let's keep going through this section, which I've dubbed the officials, which is like the park ranger and the cops and all that. So Bob the cop and his dog, played by Isaiah Whitlock.
Put your gun down. Shoots the guy's fingers off.
Yeah, that guy.
How'd you get those two fingers ain't even next to each other? I told him not to go for it.
If you've seen Tucker and Dale versus Evil,
that's a good comparison.
Or The Cabin in the Woods, or something a little lower on the quality end, but still super funny, Zombievers. Like that kind of genre of like horror comedy.
My headcanon now is that the kids went into the cabin's basement and they pulled out a bag of cocaine, and this is their trial.
That's great. I love that. The cop was like, he was like so sad. Like I was trying to figure out his story, like, because at the beginning he has this dog, and he's trying to talk to this young female cop. I was like, does he like this girl? Is he trying to like use this dog to get with this girl? And he's like, no, he's just worried about the dog, and he wants somebody to watch after his dog.
He wanted something like a lab or something fetches.
Yeah, and he got this, like, I don't even know what it is.
Maltese.
A Maltese.
Yeah.
That he's obviously disappointed with, but by the end of the movie,
he's in love with.
He's totally in love with this little dog.
But it's another one of those things where, like, he has these cutaways that totally didn't happen.
Yeah.
Where he's like, he's retroactively inserting these memories into himself because that's how he's grown to feel. It's neat.
And you kind of get the feeling that he's somebody who doesn't have family and kind of lives by himself, and that's why he's trying to get this dog. And by the end of the movie, you know, he knows he's going to die. And so, he, like you said, he's retroactively putting these memories in his head to make his relationship with the dog more than it actually was.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
It's sad and cute at the same time.
Yeah. This movie is
sad.
Yeah, it's
Q-ad.
Strangely deep. And then Officer Reba, who's the bad cop, played by Eula Smart, which has kind of like a stereotypical betrayal moment, but I wasn't waiting for something like that to happen, so it kind of caught me off guard.
Yeah, I could have took it early. It didn't really affect the movie at all that much.
No, I mean,
I liked her character. I thought she was funny.
Yeah, she was fine. She was more of a serviceable. She was there she had a purpose towards the other characters.
She did her part.
Yeah, exactly.
She's not a highlight, but she's not a low light.
And then fucking Tom and Beth, the EMTs.
Those poor EMTs.
The most
chasing of the year?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be hard. I can't imagine anything's gonna top that ambulance chase scene. It's in the trailer, and if you think that trailer gives it away, it doesn't.
No, I don't know. I haven't seen the trailer, but wow, I was on the edge of my seat for so much of this movie.
Freaking Liz is trying to shoot out of
the back, and the ambulance doors are like flying.
And he's trying to close the doors.
I was waiting for her to shoot, like, as the door was like flapping back, and for it to ricochet off the door and hit the driver.
We'll get to the bear maulings, but when it jumps into the freaking back of the ambulance and Liz falls out of the ambulance and then the crash.
That was... Whew.
Have we done the drug dealers yet?
Let's go backwards to the drug dealers. We'll start with Sid, who's the main top drug dealer, played by Ray Liotta.
Okay.
I mean, I think this is like... Ray Liotta was a character actor.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing the Goodfellas guy.
Yeah, this is the scummy, like, mob boss, drug dealer, criminal type.
I always told people I missed my calling because I always wanted to do this.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a scummy dude in the back of a club counting money.
Yeah, I mean, sure, me too.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't want to count money?
I always say I want to own a strip club and be the dude in the back with the gold tooth who counts money.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my dream job.
Or the guy at the bottom of who has a basement office in the bottom of the strip club and sells people like fake identities.
Yeah, I like that. I have the legit business upstairs, and underneath there's like something super weird or scummy going on.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's my dream.
So yeah, I mean, like, this character wasn't anything revolutionary, but it was perfect for the movie.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about it when we get to the bear and the kills, but like, one of the best kills in the movie. Is just great. And then our other two kind of like group of protagonists are Eddie and David, played by Aldrich Ehrenreich and O'Shea Jackson. And they're Ray Liotta's son.
David.
Ray Liotta's son and his, like, number one guy. Can I have the penne, too? Does it got, like, chicken or shrimp in it? No, it's just plain.
Oh, just plain, man.
Just plain.
I got one more week of John.
I got one more week of John.
Gets a tattoo of his late wife's name on him. Jonah, I think it was supposed
She was Joan.
Joan.
And they called her Joni.
Yeah.
So it was supposed to say Joan, but the tattoo artist wrote John. And they can't take it off for a week because it has to heal.
I've recently got my first tattoo, and the healing process is actually a bitch.
So, one, your wife died. 2, you have to go through this bitch of a healing process. And 3, it says John.
I'm thinking of going back and getting a second tattoo now, though.
Do it. The chemistry between these two characters was great.
So good.
Them playing 20 questions.
David purposefully doing bad because he knows the answer.
They're like back and forth in the bathroom after David gets attacked, and they're like
kill them.
The way they like good cop bad cop the kid
because he doesn't want to. Eddie doesn't want to be in the drug business anymore. He just he wants out. He wants to have like a normal life.
His wife died. He's having a hard time seeing and talking to his son about his mother's death. He wants to get over it and he wants to be out, but he can't.
Yeah. Go get the gun. I don't. What are you gonna shoot these kids for? I said, go get the gun. Ruined my favorite jersey. I can't do an impression of this guy, but he was great.
No, he was really good.
I love how like all of the clothes, because he was wearing like super expensive name brand clothes, and they kept getting ruined.
Yeah, he stepped in blood, and he's like all upset about his sneakers. Like, man, I just bought these sneakers.
Goddamn sneakers.
Which is something that people get upset about. Like, people spend ridiculous amounts of money on shoes.
Yeah.
And like, I don't do that, but I can understand if you pay like $200 to $300 for shoes, being mad if.
I mean, look how mad I got when Fatal Frame wouldn't download.
Yeah.
And I just spent $50 on that.
What the hell?
I was like, motherfuckers.
So bad.
It's downloaded now though, so.
Woo. I'll kill you all. I'll drive you crazy, and I'll kill you all. I'm every nightmare you ever had. I am your worst dream come true. I'm everything you ever were afraid of.
All right, and then our last group of characters is the bear, the cocaine bear, and her bear cubs.
It's a woman.
So let's actually just jump into scary shit. We'll talk about, is the movie scary? Why is it, or why is it not scary? And use that as a conversation to talk about Cocaine Bear.
I don't think it was scary, but I don't know if it was intended to scare me. There were some things that grossed me out and made me uncomfortable.
I don't think it was scary, but it was suspenseful and thrilling.
It was thrilling. That's a good word. Like I said, we said the chase sequence.
Yeah, I was on the edge of my seat, like, you know, I had my hands like on the ass of the seat of the theater, like, you know, standing up on my shoulders.
I almost took my camera out and was going to record you.
I mean, like, I was stressed out. It was intense.
It was. No, I don't disagree.
And there were things that, like, in a vacuum would have been scared. Like, if you got caught in a tree by a bear
and it was eating you alive.
I mean, that is scary. The way it was presented was more like suspenseful.
Comedic.
Yeah, and comedic. But, like, in another circumstance, like, a lot of the things that happened in this movie would have been scary. You know, the one part that I thought was a little on the scary side was when one of the EMTs opened up the back room door.
Oh, and, like, the bear head came out.
Yeah.
That's exactly how the trailer starts.
Ooh.
It's just, like, the EMTs walking into this room, and there's, like, blood everywhere, and they're like, what's going on? And then they open up the door, and then the bear's head comes out, and then he slowly shuts the door, and then it goes right into comedy.
Yeah. Okay, so the bear itself, Cocaine Bear, what are your thoughts?
I love the bear.
Yeah.
I thought the bear was lovable.
Bear did nothing wrong.
Bear mom of the year.
Bear mom. She's just like you said about the Carrie Russell, the mom. She's just a mom trying to take care of her kids. She's got those tired mom bear eyes.
Yeah, it's hot.
She's just trying to unwind with a little crack cocaine.
It's a girl bear. How do you know? It's vaginas in my ear.
That was great.
I I've heard some people say that this movie glorifies drugs too much, and I'm like, I don't care. It's funny because every time they did something with like the cocaine in the air and it would slow-mo with the bear, I thought it was so funny.
Maybe it does, but
if it does, I don't care.
Yeah,
that's my stance.
There's so many things to get upset about in the world. Like that's not the hill I'm going to die on.
That's going to be at the bottom of my list.
Yeah, exactly.
Twitter sucks out my soul every day I use it.
Soon there will be nothing left.
All will be Twitter.
So we started talking about this earlier. The opening scene is a couple of hikers getting attacked by the bear, and the way it kills one of the hikers is it just drags her into a bush, and the bush is just like shaking around, and
they're screaming.
To me, it's kind of like a Scooby-Doo level of like PG violence.
It's almost like something you'd see in like a PG-13 spoof comedy, like a scary movie. Yeah. And like a leg flies out.
And I was thinking like, that's not what I was expecting, but this is a comedy, and if that's the level of violence they go with, I think that'll work. That'll be fine.
And then the dude's eaten alive in a tree, and we were
like, the movie tricked me.
We were both like,
what the fuck?
Because like he's screaming, like he is death rattling, screaming, and his guts are falling over his face, and he's bleeding, and then he falls out of the tree, and his head lands with a splat.
The fucking kid, it was like, I really like to forget I saw that, but I think that's the kind of thing that sticks with you.
I love that kid so much.
I did too.
Hey, do you think that if the bear did cocaine, that its parents would be mad?
Mama bear and Papa bear always know. This movie is so quotable.
Yeah,
so quotable. I've only seen it once. And
I'm probably gonna go see it again.
I'd like to.
My brother Anthony recently saw it, and my brother-in-law Larry saw it, and they both didn't like it. And I'm like, how? Different strokes for different folks, I guess. But.
So I can definitely understand people not liking this movie. Like, no one else in my household would like this movie. There's a huge demographic of people who wouldn't. But I'm surprised to hear that Anthony didn't like it.
It seems right up his alley.
Yeah. I think for the horror community, I would think this would be something that most people would enjoy.
I would say like 3/4.
Yeah.
And unless you're like, again, because I'm perpetually online, you got like these different camps of people like horror needs to always be serious. Like those people aren't going to like it.
Yeah, obviously.
Everything A24 puts out is genius, and I love those movies, don't get me wrong, but they're jerking off to Skinamarink staring at a wall for 15 minutes.
Skinamarink dinky dink, skinamarink doo.
Yeah, that movie. I didn't like that movie.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah. It's we can talk about that another time. But.
And then just a little bit on the bear. The bear is completely CG. Obviously, there are 3 options. Well, technically 4. You can do a CG bear, you can do a practical effects bear, which could include somebody in a bear suit. You can use a real bear, or you can use a combination of these 3 things.
After you and I saw an actual dude die from a bear attack,
yeah,
we watched a video on YouTube, and then they're like, 5 minutes after this was filmed, the guy died from bleeding out, and we were like, oh, okay, well now that video is less fun to watch.
I actually found like another like good bear attack.
Oh, we should watch it.
Yeah, I'll try and find it later. My first thought when like the bear like popped out of the woods was like the CG wasn't great.
My thought was it was passable. It was like C+.
And we're both always an advocate of practical effects. But by the end of this movie, I was like, you could not do this movie with practical effects. Not with the things they made this bear do.
I think you could have hypothetically done like a combination like Jurassic Park. Like there are parts where it's CGI and parts where it's practical. Yeah, I mean, it could have. I don't know if that would have been better in this case. The budget was already a lot more than I thought it was.
But it's still like relatively a smaller budget movie.
Yeah. God, I think most of that probably went into the CGI.
When you export your CGI to New Zealand, to Weta, I'm sure it's not cheap. Yeah, I think maybe I would have preferred to see what it looked like with a combination of the 2, but...
Definitely not a real bear.
No, definitely not a real bear. That's certainly the worst option. And I don't think if they went completely practical effects, I don't think... they would have been able to do all the things they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, like, the bear wasn't so bad that it, like, took me out of the movie or anything. It just...
No, because everything else was so engaging.
Yeah. And also the movie doesn't take itself very seriously.
Yeah, that helps a lot.
Yeah. But there are also, like, moments in the movie that are serious and do grip you. So it's weird. It kind of walks the line. It's like Johnny Cash. It walks the line.
Johnny Cash Bear.
Oh my God! Are you Stephen King? No, I'm Dean Koontz. Oh.
All right, so let's go to King's and Koontz. Unless you had something for Kiss Me Fat, I don't think. Not really. It's kind of
cocaine bear, smash or pass.
Pass.
That's good. That's a smart move.
Yeah. So I actually looked on IMDb where they have a parent's guide that, like, breaks down everything bad in a movie, and it was like violence, gore, profanity, and drug use. It had, like, almost the highest ratings, and then sex and nudity, it was like G, because there's, like, nothing in this movie.
And you know what? I don't think this movie would have been helped by titties.
No, I don't think so.
I honestly think that might have detracted from some of the enjoyment.
I agree. I completely agree. Okay, so what was your king for Cocaine Bear?
When Ponytail opens the door thinking it's going to be one of the drug dealers because of the misunderstanding with Liz.
Yeah.
And then he sees the bear and he steps in front of her and goes, "That's a bear!" And she shoots at the bear and a bullet just explodes his skull.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that. It caught me off guard so much.
For me, it's between the kids and the ambulance chase. And honestly, it could be either. I'm going to say the ambulance chase right now.
Because we don't do ties.
Yeah, tomorrow it could be different, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Koontz, the bear... The CG could have looked a little better, and that's being kind of nitpicky for me.
God, I don't know. Koontz for Daniel. Let's go with sequel bait, I guess. You know, they had those cubs, and it's totally there to go, hey, wouldn't you like to see a whole forest full of cocaine bears?
No.
But I kind of want to, so
yeah,
again, that's kind of nitpicky.
I'm fine with a sequel.
Yeah, but that's when I'm sitting there watching that. That's about the only thing that took me out. It was I went, oh, that's to set up a sequel. That's about the only thing that took me out of the movie.
They'll run out of cocaine, so
yeah,
they have to find it.
No, they'll travel to the big city. It'll be Cocaine Bear Takes Manhattan,
or maybe they
or just Chicago, wherever cocaine comes from, Colombia.
Maybe they'll start eating shrooms that they find in the forest. Then they'd be all mellow and, like, stuff.
Oh, unless you have a bad trip.
Yeah. Okay, and then rankings. I'll go first, and I'll tell you. I went ahead and I put it as my new number 2.
That's pretty high.
Yeah. So the two that it was, like, in contention for were Dog Soldiers and Call Girl of Cthulhu, and I think I maybe, like, it's pretty close to a tie between the three of them. I put it above Call Girl of Cthulhu, not necessarily because I think it's better, and it also may be a little bit of recency bias, but I just think animal attack movies are a particularly favorite horror subgenre for me.
Yeah.
And I'm more of a fan of creature features and animal attack movies than I am a fan of H.P. Lovecraft, so that just kind of put it over the top there. And I think, maybe tomorrow, if you asked me, I might have Dog Soldiers at number 2 and Cocaine Bear at number 3. I think those two could go either way for me, but I really love this movie, and it was specifically important for me because I've honestly been feeling a little burned out recently. We've covered a lot of things that I have not been a fan of.
Yeah.
And it's been a little exhausting. And this movie was a very important fresh of breath air for me.
Yeah.
I feel revitalized because of it.
That's fair.
Yeah. And then here is your list.
Let me take a look-see here. Mine's not going to be nearly that high. Oh, God. I think I'm going to put it right above X.
Okay, so...
Crack the top 10.
That makes it your new Makes it your new number 10, below Frankenstein 1931 and above X. So it's still pretty good.
Still pretty good.
Still pretty high. Okay. And then Zombie Day. Obviously, this is the first of its kind, so there are no like Cocaine Bear references, but there are some little Easter eggy things. So, like I said, this movie is directed by Elizabeth Banks. One of her very first movies was my all-time favorite comedy, Wet Hot American Summer, and that movie opens with Jane by Jefferson Starship, which is the same song that Cocaine Bear opens on. And I was kind of sitting in the theater, kind of like dreading watching another movie that I'm probably going to hate. And then all of a sudden it starts playing, Jefferson Starship comes on and plays Jane. And it just instantly takes me back to Camp Firewood in Maine in Wet Hot American Summer. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm so here. And then it says across the screen, directed by Elizabeth Banks. And I'm like, oh my God, that has to be on purpose. And I'm waiting for an Elizabeth Banks cameo through this whole movie. And I don't get it till the last 30 seconds when she does a voiceover as another hiker who comes across the bears.
She did the mocap for the bear.
Oh, that's sweet. That's sweet.
I wish that was true.
I would have believed it. Oh. I mean, I did believe it there for a second.
I thought you were fucking back with me.
And then obviously, like, this was just like Disney Canon Star Wars Hall of Fame. Like, you cannot have this many Star Wars actors in one movie and me walk away not loving it. Obviously, Alden Ehrenreich, fucking Han Solo, O'Shea Jackson is Roken in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and Kerry Russell is Zori Bliss from Rise of Skywalker. Just like, okay, you get all these Star Wars people together, and I'm obviously happy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so moving to homework. So give me your elevator pitch for a sequel, a prequel, a spinoff, a remake, or a reboot of Cocaine Bear.
Mine's a sequel. All the bears go on a bender, fuck a bunch of other bears, and then the entire forest is just filled with cocaine bears, and they just pour into the town.
So, mine is also a sequel, and it focuses around Eddie and Devine.
Okay.
You actually have a little bit of an unresolved story with them, because, you know, the whole reason Eddie decided to help his dad try and get the cocaine back is because if they don't get it back, the Colombians are going to kill them all. So now, you know, post Cocaine Bear, aren't the Colombians going to still come after Eddie and his son and Devine?
Okay.
And they only really kind of address that with one line where Devine says as to Eddie, what is the plan, to go grab Gabe and just go? And he says yes, and that's the only way they address it. So the sequel is them getting Gabe and going north to Canada. And they're hiding out in a Canadian national rainforest. And they decide they're done with cocaine. They're only going to do crystal meth from now on. But when they're camping in the Canadian national forest, they don't take their cocaine and strap it to a top of a tree limb to keep the bears out of it. So then you have the sequel, Crystal Meth Bear.
I like yours better. Let's do that one.
Okay.
IRS Elizabeth Banks.
Yeah. And then question for the listeners, have you seen Cocaine Bear? And if so, why not? Because so far it's the best movie of 2023 and not even close. And I'm a defender of the new Ant-Man. I liked it, but I would recommend Cocaine Bear first.
I'm going to go see Scream next week.
Yeah. Enjoy.
Yeah.
And then for further reading, I just listed some of my favorite animal attack movies. Lake Placid, Beast, Deep Blue Sea, Zombievers, Jaws, The Birds, Congo, Anaconda, Zoo, which is a TV series, but...
Yeah, no, that's a good list.
You have any to add to that?
No, those are all the ones that I would have listed.
All right, cool. Upcoming on the Horror of Babylon, this Sunday we are doing our next book episode, which will be on Dean Koontz's Watchers. And then next week, on the 16th, we're going to have a bonus episode sponsored by Horsemen Comics and Gaming, where we review the film Reanimator.
That's going to be fun.
And then the next Sunday, we will have our episode on the first adaptation of Watchers. And the following Sunday will be on Uzumaki by Junji Ito. And then the movie the Sunday after that. Pretty simple.
Pretty solid.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much to our patrons, Abigail the First, Breaker of Chains, Mother of Dragons, and
Logan,
the Full Metal Patron. And, of course, thank you to all the and other people at Four Horsemen Comics and Gaming. You can go to one of the at the Morgantown Mall in Morgantown, West
They'll be the ones with the big...
No, it's a...
Oh.
I thought you were brought up Catholic.
No, I was brought up Baptist. Would you think I would know better with that?
Yeah, Morgantown Mall, Morgantown, West Virginia, and the mall at Robinson in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Daniel, thank you very much for going to see Cocaine Bear with me and recording tonight.
Thank you, Ryan. It was great.
Although there is one bad part.
What?
That we're for the rest of 2023. I don't think we're going to see a better movie.
I think we'll be comparing everything to Cocaine Bear.
Yeah, which is because there's some pretty hype movies coming out soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, not limited to, but including Indiana Jones 5. So
there's another Indiana Jones.
The poster was up when we saw it.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, and the trailer's out.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I when it came out on YouTube, I did not watch it, but I got to see it before Ant-Man.
Okay.
I cried because I was like, oh, I'm so happy. I actually did not watch the Shazam trailer when it came out on YouTube, but I got to see it before Ant-Man and like 3 other movies too. So yeah.
You remember that Woody Harrelson movie where he's coaching special need kids?
Champions.
Yeah. My mom went and saw that today.
It's out already?
Yeah, we saw the trailer during Cocaine Bear, and they went and watched it today.
I want to see it. I think it looks fun.
Yeah. I just didn't think they were allowed to make movies like this anymore.
I don't think it's going to be like The Ringer.
I hope not.
I think it's going to be more
respectful,
more like Radio.
Okay,
I guess.
I like Radio.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I mean, I also like The Ringer. I just don't think you could make it again.
No, you can't make that kind of movie anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, you say that, and Borat 2 just came out like a year or 2 ago.
I still haven't seen Borat 2.
It was good. Nowhere near as good as the first one or Bruno, but it was fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it was worth watching just for the Michael Pence jokes. Yeah.
Okay, I'll watch it now.
Those are my 3 pence. All right.
I love you, Ryan.
Good night, everybody. Stay scary.
Stay scary.
And now for the obligatory socials. Please like, share and subscribe. Follow Daniel at dstarsick on Twitter. Follow Ryan at Darth Damio on the Bluebird app. You can find the podcast on Twitter at HorrorPod69. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Slasher and Goodreads. Become part of the Disturbed community by asking for the Facebook group and Discord links. Send dick pics to the Horror of Babylon podcast at gmail.com. Support the show at patreon.com/the Horror of Babylon. In closing, you can let your friends know that the Horror of Babylon is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible and all other major podcast apps. Stay scary.